will definitely cost Medvedev a lot of cash. Brad Gilbert reacts as Russian star sparks controversy at City DC Open. When you think of Daniil Medvedev, you think of precision, power, and occasionally, pandemonium. It was a sweltering afternoon at the 2025 City DC Open. The sun bore down on the hard courts like a vengeful overseer, melting tempers faster than ice towels could soothe. As fans clutched lemonades and smartphones, hoping for a classic Medvedev masterclass, they got something entirely different, something that had the entire tennis world buzzing within minutes. And at the center of that buzz? None other than Coco Gauff's former coach, Brad Gilbert, who, never shy with a spicy soundbite, delivered a take that turned heads. This one's gonna cost Daniil a lot of cash, definitely. And maybe even more than that. It could cost him the crowd. The outburst that shook Washington. It was supposed to be a routine match. Medvedev, the top seed, was facing an unseeded American wild card, Chase Redding, a 22-year-old underdog with more grit than glamour. Medvedev took the first set with ease, but the second proved frustrating. Redding, backed by a raucous home crowd and pumped full of youthful adrenaline, was relentless. He chased down every shot, disrupted Medvedev's rhythm, and dared to do what few others tried, talk back between points. A subtle "let's go" here, a smirk there, and suddenly, the towering Russian was rattled. At 3-3 in the second set, after a disputed line call didn't go his way, Medvedev exploded. He slammed his racket, once, twice, until it shattered, fragments skittering across the court like sparks. Then came the words, loud in Russian and English, sharp, directed at the chair umpire, the crowd, and even, bizarrely, a cameraman too close for comfort. While the audio wasn't fully captured live, the tone needed no translation. The crowd, once charmed by Medvedev's eccentric genius, booed. And that's when Brad Gilbert, working commentary for ESPN On-Site, leaned forward and dropped his now viral line. Brad Gilbert, the oracle of on-court chaos. Brad Gilbert has seen it all: fiery McEnroe meltdowns, stoic Sampras dominance, the rise of the Big Three, and the wild unpredictability of the next general, but nothing quite prepared him for Medvedev's combustible cocktail that day in D.C. He's a phenomenal player, Gilbert said post-match in a special segment. But this wasn't fire. This was a forest fire. It'll definitely cost him a lot of cash. Fines for the racket, for audible obscenities, for unsportsmanlike conduct. Maybe even a suspension, depending on the umpire report. But even more than that, it's about brand damage. Gilbert, who famously helped guide Coco Gauff through mental pressure at last year's U.S. Open, knows the balance of public perception and player performance. Daniil's walking a tightrope. Tennis isn't just about the points you win. It's about the way you carry the jersey. This ain't the UFC. The crowd's part of the game. And he just pushed them away. A war of words and wounds. Medvedev's post-match press conference was, predictably, tense. Dressed in a navy Lacoste polo and wiping sweat from his brow, he fielded the questions with the same cold precision as his baseline shots. I was frustrated, yes, he admitted. But when a call is bad, I have the right to express that. I don't think I went too far. When asked about Gilbert's comments, Medvedev bristled. Brad is entitled to his opinion. He's coaching, he's commenting. Maybe he's also playing judge now. That's fine. But I'm here to compete, not to entertain every fan who boos because I'm not American. Those words only stoked the fire further. Within hours, Medvedev meltdown was trending worldwide, and Gilbert's quote was emblazoned across sports headlines. The business of being Medvedev. At the elite level of tennis, brand and behavior go hand in hand. Players are not just athletes, they're corporations in motion. Endorsements, media rights, image deals. A single match outburst could mean $1 million swing in perception. And Brad Gilbert knows this better than most. Daniil has sponsors. Global ones. Luxury brands. Tech companies. They want fierce, but not furious. Gilbert said the next day on a podcast. If you're throwing rackets and shouting at umpires, that's not the image they want projected during prime time in Tokyo or Paris. Tennis legends like Federer built empires on calm. Nadal on humility. Even Novak Djokovic, despite past controversies, evolved into a figure of global ambassadorship. Medvedev, on the other hand, remains the sport's misunderstood genius, part villain, part virtuoso. Honestly, he's one of the smartest players I've ever seen, Gilbert added. But being smart between the lines doesn't mean you're emotionally ready for the heat that comes with being in the spotlight 24/7. Fan fallout and fellow player reactions. Fans at the stadium were divided. Some chanted Medvedev, trying to diffuse the negativity, while others shouted sarcastically, "Nice sportsmanship." On X, formerly Twitter, hashtag Team Medvedev trended alongside hashtag Ban Medvedev. Former rival Nick Kyrgios, no stranger to drama, posted cryptically. He had a point. But yeah, maybe don't nuke the umpire with your words, grinning face with sweat. Meanwhile, Coco Gauff, now entrenched in her own summer hardcourt season prep, was asked if she'd seen the outburst. She grinned slightly. "I've seen Daniil fired up before. Let's just say, Brad probably saw it coming a mile away." Redemption or repetition. Gilbert's main concern wasn't just the fines, it was the future. You do this in D.C., and maybe you walk away with a warning. But try it at the U.S. Open, on Arthur Ashe, under the lights? That's a whole different story. The stakes are too high, and he's too good to sabotage himself. What's next for Medvedev is uncertain. The ADP will likely hand down fines. A code of conduct review may follow. Sponsors will send concerned emails, and the tennis world will brace for his next appearance in Toronto. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this episode is how it sets up Medvedev's story arc moving forward. Will he lean into the bad boy narrative and embrace the chaos? Or will he, as Gilbert hopes, channel the fire into fuel? Final word from Gilbert. As the dust settled on what had become the most talked-about match of the tournament, Gilbert offered one last reflection. Tennis is a game of inches, between the lines and in the mind. Daniil stepped over the mental line today. But the greats? They step back. They learn. If he can do that, this won't be what defines him. A pause. But yeah, still gonna cost him a fat check. Epilogue. The numbers behind the madness. Hours after the match ended, the ADP confirmed Medvedev had been fined $27,000, one of the heftiest non-Grand Slam fines in recent memory. He was docked. $5,000 for racket abuse, $10,000 for verbal abuse, $7,000 for unsportsmanlike conduct, $5,000 for a post-match statement deemed inflammatory. And just like that, Brad Gilbert's prediction rang true. It did cost him. A lot. But the bigger cost may be intangible, the trust of fans, the whisper of sponsors, the war with perception. Still, if there's one thing we know about Daniil Medvedev, it's that he doesn't stay down for long. And if there's one thing we know about Brad Gilbert,